This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing and the weather and rules and leagues and TV show. We got just a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I usually get them on once a year. I've roomed with them for the last 4 or 5 years in the Opens, and then he decided to go over to the NPFL. It's Andrew Upshaw. We'll bring him in right now. Andrew, thanks for jumping on BTL this morning.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Are you a breakfast dude? Like, I mean, I know when we were fishing, like you just get up and leave, but like I've got an issue that's recently arisen. I've become obsessed with everything bagels.
You know, I actually went through that phase where I had to have a bagel like every morning. It just killed me. I had to have it. And then I kind of got out of it, thankfully.
How long does that phase last?
It only lasted about a year for me.
A year? I'm 3 days in.
Oh, yeah. It lasts a while because then you're going to like start experimenting with like different flavors of bagels, of different flavors of cream cheese.
So I went into the Walmart and I was just getting coffee and I said, man, I could go for a bagel. And they only had the everything bagels. And I'm like 3 sleeves of bagels in 3 days. Like I've been eating them nonstop. That can't be good.
No, that's, I mean, you should probably try to limit yourself to one
like,
a day.
look at, here it is right there. There it is. I'm on my second everything bagel with strawberry cream cheese in the morning.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, now I've got poppy seeds all over the desk. Oh, I mean, everywhere. Lot to talk about. I noticed in the comments already, what is the fantasy fishing group name? We kicked that off, 2 days ago? The Bassmaster Open Pros Pick'em with Todd Castledine, Ish, myself, hosted by Andrew over on Andrew Upshaw's YouTube channel. Do we have a group on the Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing yet?
Yes, I just added it on. It's called Open Pros Pick'em. I tried to keep it as basic and simple as possible so people could actually find it. The motto, you'll know it's the right one. The motto says, try to beat Panger.
Oh, really? All right. So I'm in my fantasy fishing right here, which they updated. I don't even know what all the rest of this stuff is. I'll have to do it. So then you go to fantasy fishing
groups. Yeah.
You go to groups, join or create a group, and then type in. Let's type here.
Open, right?
Open Pros. If you just type that in, it doesn't show up. How do you say it? Open Pros.
Pick'em. Why is it not showing up?
I don't know.
Are you searching it right?
OPEN.
Yep.
PRO apostrophe.
No, just do. You got to click on fantasy fishing only. I did not do drain the lake. You see how it says content?
Fantasy. Whoa. Did I just get a virus?
Yes.
Okay. So fantasy fishing only.
Yep.
Open Pros Pick'em. Go. What is going on?
I blew its mind.
Server.
There's so many people that joined at one time that it just basically just killed it.
I'll have to figure that out. Hundreds of thousands. How did you come up with that concept originally? Because that's like what I really, even though I'm usually the butt of the jokes in that, I really enjoy doing that. And that, I mean, literally the thing gets 5,000 views in the first couple hours after it comes out.
Yeah, no, I don't remember how it actually came up. I think we were just bored one day, and I told Todd. I think I remember mentioning it to Todd first. I was like, "Hey, I want to start this open like fantasy fishing thing," and he goes, "Really? Like, why?" I was like, "I don't know. I think people will like it, you know." And it kind of gets everybody together. We all get to chat at least a little bit, and it just kind of grew into this big thing, and kind of unexpectedly. So it actually worked out pretty good.
It is fun. it's interesting to see. Like, it's cool that a lot of the Elite Series guys watch the
Oh, it's so funny.
watch the show, and Bass staff has watched the show. Have you ever actually gotten an email? Have we ever gotten in trouble for anything that we've said in that thing, actually?
I mean, not that I'm aware of. I mean, we probably had some mean comments that have been sent, or mean emails or something like that, or somebody getting frustrated. I mean, I got a really nasty text from an Elite Series angler just a couple of days ago when we
Like,
posted it.
seriously, or is this a joke?
Oh yeah, no, this is serious. Kyle Patrick said some very vulgar things to me.
Oh, come on now. Kyle Patrick couldn't. He's a what is he? The fruit bat? He
I
couldn't
don't know.
hurt
Did he
couldn't
name
hurt a
himself?
fly.
He had to have named
If
himself.
you guys have no idea what we're talking about, there's a thing called fantasy fishing. It's been around for a long time. It's similar to fantasy football. You can register at bassmaster.com under the fantasy fishing tab. You pick anglers in each group based up as the season goes on, it'll be based upon their angler of the year standings. You pick who you think is going to do good in each tournament. You get points for how high they finish. And we do a whole show about that, which is quite possibly one of the nerdiest shows you could ever do. A show about fantasy bass fishing.
Hey, but the cool thing is we make it not so nerdy, or at least you make it nerdy, and we make fun of you for being nerdy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Is it zero there? Because it's legitimately zero here today.
Nope. It's 34, and I'm really loving it, especially when you hear that it's zero there.
Yeah. I lived through some cold fronts this last week when the opens went to Rayburn. A lot of stuff canceled on like Rayburn and Toledo Bend over the weekend of the open. You have grown up, with the exception of some time where you lived in Tulsa. You are right in the mecca of that Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Bermuda Triangle deal there.
Mm-hmm.
How bad do those things get? What percentage of events get canceled? We're just coming off of a one-day open. Like, growing up there and understanding those fisheries, what is the water like when it blows there day in and day out? You understand it?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I've seen a mass cancellation of tournaments quite like we saw on that Saturday that was coming. Like all those storms.
Like, what else got canceled? I heard one team tournament got canceled, but
there was a lot of stuff got canceled. Toledo Bend had a couple different tournaments get canceled that weekend. One was a BFL or rescheduled. There was probably, at least that I know of, 5 or 6 tournaments that got canceled that day, for that particular day. And Sunday wasn't even better. Sunday was rough as well. It was really, really windy. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit surprised on the Saturday because the weather that morning actually was, the weather was actually pretty good. I mean, there wasn't hardly any wind. And then I remember, I think I had to go to Lufkin, and I was on my way to Lufkin. And then all of a sudden the wind and that storm rolled through, and I was like, oh, okay, that's probably why they canceled it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely worth it, but you just don't see that. I mean, I think especially early in the year, everybody's a little bit more cautious than they are by the end of the year. I mean, if you look at the opens in general, and I'm not even just knocking the opens, but it always seems like our first couple tournaments, they used to cancel a day or two here and there. And then we get to the St. Lawrence River or something like that, and it'd be gassing and we'd still go. So, I mean, I didn't see much of a difference.
What's the worst you've ever been out on Rayburn?
I mean, honestly, I've been on rougher stuff on Toledo than I have Rayburn. I mean, Rayburn gets really, really bad.
Yeah. What's the roughest you've ever been in on Toledo?
Toledo, I mean, I've seen some legit like 6s, 7s.
Like in a derby, like where everything's strapped down and buckled up, and you're like, cannot make a mistake like here.
And the dangerous thing about Toledo is you have to run the boat lanes. So like you know how on like big bodies of water like Erie, Champlain, things like that, you can tack across back and forth. But when you get to a place like Toledo, you're running boat lanes, and so you're just kind of taking them off the corner. You might be going with them. Like, it's just really a terrible scenario. And if you get out and you land on one of those trees, it's going right through your boat.
I mean, literally, you would be like a shish kebab.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically
Have you
what it
ever
is.
seen that? Like where there's a boat
Mhm.
with just a tree that went completely
Oh yeah.
through the entire hull in through the deck, and it's just literally skewered.
Well, there's a reason that that you see boats sink. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day on this lake, like you used to see, you know, if you got in a really bad tournament, like where it was like insanely bad winds. Now, granted, they were running
Hmm.
like 18, 19 footers at that point. You'd see like 15, 20 boats get swamped or sink, or I mean, it was crazy back in the day. But
The older I get, the more I appreciate other species, which is odd because you would think it would be the opposite. Like, at least for me, when I came in, I was like, bass, 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 bass. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like sports. There's some guys that are all like, they only play baseball growing up or
mhm.
whatever. And then there's other So, I mean, I'm 40 now. And at Rayburn, I appreciated the other species so much. I had no idea the blue cat population, the I knew there were big crappie. I didn't know there were that many big crappie. And then also like 2.5 to 3 pound white bass. I think it's a combination of technique and bait and where we're looking for them now as opposed to it. But have you gotten on the blue cat bite yet?
Oh, dude, I caught a really big one the other day. Um,
How does that even work? Like, I didn't even know. Like, I caught some on Grand, but they were on the bottom a little bit. Dude, I caught probably 50 to 100 blue cats over the course of that tournament from 2 feet below the surface to on the bottom.
yep. No, it's wild. And I've noticed it, especially on Toledo, more so than
So
anywhere.
it's even worse on Toledo.
Oh yeah, like it's crazy. So like you'll go into a drain, and if you're at the mouth of the drain, or if the fish are like further in, you'll start catching catfish, 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 and then you'll hit a section of bass.
That's exactly what happened.
And I've seen like, I mean, the ones that I've gotten to where I can really spot them well are the ones that are sticking to stumps. They're always at the top end of the stump, and they're just sitting right up there, and they look like they should be bass, but they're actually catfish.
We did not give them enough credit growing up
Mhm.
before we were able to see them, on the screen with our eyes. Those things are straight up schooling predators.
Oh yeah, I honestly, I it completely reversed everything I ever thought I knew about catfish. Because back in the day, all you did was throw a big old weight and some kind of stink bait or something on a hook
Yeah.
on the bottom 24/7. And heck, I've seen more suspended than I have on the bottom, I feel like.
I mean, I had more blue cats gut hooked on a 6 and 7 inch minnow than I knew was humanly possible.
Hmm.
And then they roll, and it
I
was a
mean, it's bad.
disaster. It was an absolute disaster. Big changes for you this year. It was weird being at a open where we weren't rooming together. I jumped in, and we've got a cool house. We have Blake Schroeder, who stayed at his place down there in Sam Rayburn this past week, so we didn't room with him. But Miles Berghoff, Matt Steffen, knew. I guess I'm an addition since they're buddies. Anyway, we've got a molding in the house. That's who's rooming for the next 4. But you have made a move, and I know this wasn't a move that you took lightly. It wasn't an easy move in 2025. So chat a little bit about that decision.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things going. Anytime you make a big life, and for me, this is a life decision. Like whenever you make a decision where you're completely just changing the trajectory of what you're doing, it makes it a whole lot different. For instance, if I looked at the schedule, like the EQs that the actual qualifiers that we would be fishing would be in the fall. Um, I coach my son's football team, and I really enjoy that. And it's something that I've done for the last couple seasons, and I just didn't want to miss it. And I knew if
Mhm.
I fished the opens, heck, I could fish the first 4 or even the first 8. But I wasn't going to go fish the EQs because of that reason, if I even qualified to begin with. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like I've taken a step back from the tournament side of things. I actually saw you block somebody earlier because they were being a smart aleck on here.
Yeah, dude, that guy yesterday was talking crap about Terry Scroggins. Like
Yeah,
who
I
talks?
mean,
I mean,
you're gonna have
literally,
people.
he's like, oh, Terry's been irrelevant. And I'm like, look at the stats, dumbass. He's
Well,
literally been one of the most consistent BPT anglers over the last 5 years. He's gonna easily make the top 50 cut next year.
oh yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
No, but I mean,
I'm old and grumpy. I got a short leash now, Andrew.
no, I understand, man. I understand. I just don't spend as much time out there. I coach my son's track team, football team. I
Yep.
assist with basketball, baseball. Like, I really enjoy spending time with my son and my family. And so that really kind of puts a damper on tournament fishing. And we started Let's Fish TV, and it's been just continually growing and expanding significantly. And it kind of takes a lot more of my time. So when I looked at the schedule of the NPFL, obviously I really enjoyed the fact that they got rid of forward facing sonar. Not that I'm one of those like super Randy Blockett anti
Mhm.
people, but more so that I just wanted to go do something that I grew up doing. I actually told Todd yesterday, we were on the phone for a little while, and I was like, man, if I could just go back from when I started fishing and just forget everything I knew and just fish now, like I'd probably be immensely better, because I felt like whenever I was in 2019, right on the cusp of like scope really becoming insanely popular, I was kind of hitting my prime. I was really starting to fish really well. I was making good decisions. And whenever all that stuff changed and scope came in like super hardcore to where it was dominating literally everything that we fished, um, I kept trying to do the same thing. Like I went to a body of water and I did go throw a thunder cricket, or I'd go flip, right? And then I might go scope for an hour.
Mhm.
Whereas the guys these days, all they do is scope 24/7. And it's really hard to forget everything that you knew before. And I know there's going to be people in the comments or anybody that watches this show that might, well, you're just not adapting. I mean, it's not as simple as what people may think it is. Um, you
I
know,
mean, heck, there's some of us that have scoped for a crappie for 3 hours in tournament competition.
I've done that
That was a
more than
joke.
like just the
That was a
one.
shot at you.
No, dude, I did it at where were we at? Washita. You remember
Oh,
how big some of
you
those
did it at Washita
gigantic?
too?
Yo, dude. Well, but it was, I think, a combination of all the days combined.
Yeah.
There was definitely plenty of
Tell the
crappie.
Santee Cooper story. It's a couple years old now. It is a gem. I mean, it's not a gem, but it's a gem.
Man, I was using my scout mode on my active target too, and I caught like two really good bass like right off the bat doing it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can see them on beds, and I find this one fish on a bed, and I'm fishing, and it bites almost every cast, and I
It's
can't
just in
bite it.
practice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you found it in practice.
yeah, and so I come back in the tournament, and I just spend time, and like I'm missing it. I finally hook it, and I miss it again. I come back the next day, and like within 30 minutes, I catch it. And it's the biggest crappie I've ever caught in my life. Is, I mean, well over 3 pounds. But yeah,
Sitting on a bed, spinning around on it.
yeah, spinning around on a bed, just acting the exact same way. I learned a lot from that. I mean, because I learned if the bass doesn't eat like really quickly, it's probably not a bass. So
Yeah, I've noticed that too. The more you mess with them, like the bass, when it decides to eat it, unless it's slow following it. What was the process like? Go down that road. With now we're in a wormhole. What was the process like of joining the NPFL? Was that easy? Did you have to go? Did you have a chat with Brad? Like, how was that initial contact of, hey, I've won a tour event. I've won the Toyota Championship. I'm fishing the Opens now. I'd like to explore the possibilities of fishing the NPFL in 25.
well, actually, what people don't know is I've been in contact with the MPFL since the first year they began. And originally, I was kind of set to join them even then. Just a lot of things didn't work out, trying to make things all work. And we got to this year, and quite honestly, I just needed a change. I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
was in a stale place with the Opens, and not the Opens didn't do anything to me. I just felt like I needed to change things up, kind of mix things up a little bit. I was kind of getting to a point where um, I was wanting to retire. Like, I mean, like, hated life, hated fishing. It just became so much more drama and stress than it was even worth. And so, quite honestly, when I looked at the NPFL and the changes they had made, I jumped in. I called Al and told him that I was
Mm-hmm.
interested. And like I said, they've already known me. The process was super easy. I filled out a form, and they'd already told me that everything was going to work out. And then we just kind of rolled in. And honestly, the communication is really top tier. I mean, they let us know everything that's going on before it happens. Um, And not that we have any more influence or any less influence than we've been in any other tournament organization, but I do feel like I can at least make a phone call and they hear me, whether or not they actually change anything. So that was a big deal. But I will say, this is the thing that I've noticed over the last 4 weeks in comparison to the last 5 years or 4 years, however long it's been. I've been more excited, like working on my tackle, getting ready for this season because I'm making boxes that I haven't had to even touch in like 4 years.
Yeah, I opened up a crankbait box the other day and it smelled so bad. And I was like, what is that smell? And then I realized I'd not opened that box in probably 2 years.
Exactly. And that's what's been super awesome. Like I made a box yesterday that had the baby luau cross from Strike Kingdom. It's like a little small skirted grub, basically.
Yep.
And that was a bait that I've caught him on for years, but with like a small hula grub. And now I got to make it, and I'm like excited because I'm like, man, that's gonna be a great way to catch them here, here, and here, along with other baits, like redoing like all the boxes, like. And I've always been like, you know me, I've always been like a big tackle tinker. If you looked in the back of my truck now, you would be absolutely baffled how organized every single thing I have is. Oh yeah, dude. Like I've not been this organized since probably 19.
I feel, and this is just me, you can say it's wrong. So in 2023, you made a real strong run at the Elite Series. You had a string of tournaments of opens where you went 15th, 30th, 31st, 53rd, 27th, and then that very last one at the Ozarks. It seemed to me like that just took the wind out of your sails. And then halfway through this year, you had 151st, 117th, 167th last year. Like, to me, that was when I knew you were probably done.
Oh yeah, no, dude. Like that one did, because I've been close, really close twice. I think I finished 8th in 21, or I wasn't. Yeah, and then in that year in 23, I was really close again, and I just, man, like it did. It took the wind out of my sails because I was fishing at a really good level and I wasn't scoping. Like it was all straight fishing almost every time, everywhere I went. Frogging, flipping, swim jig, that kind of stuff.
Do you think it helps that you have fished in a Bassmaster Classic, that you're not chasing that ghost, to where you said, listen, even though I haven't fished on the Elite Series, I've fished in the Classic, I've walked across that stage. I'm at a point in my life where that's, not something, because that's what I'm chasing. Let's be honest. If I make the Elites, that's fantastic. I would love to have that on the resume, but I'm looking for those 3 magical days where it all comes together and you can just be one of the guys to walk across that stage. I mean, that's what's keeping me with that. That's why I'm with Bass. That's why I'm signed. I mean, that's, you know what it is.
I'll be honest, man. Like, I mean, I've fished the Classic. I've fished quite a few Forcewood Cups. To me, they were kind of one and the same. And I know people are going to be like, oh my God, no, they're not. It didn't seem much different. I'll be honest. Like, and I know FLW doesn't exist anymore, but it was the same kind of like Aurora. Like you walk in, you're like, holy crap, this is awesome. I don't know. I'd rather just win tournaments if I got the chance. I don't have to go fish a league to make me feel like I'm a better fisherman than anybody else. It just, I don't know. The fact that I've got a bunch of buddies that fish the Elite Series and they don't seem like they're having very much fun. So like I mean, like for real though, like all the ones I talk to, they aren't having fun. And like,
it's an odd vibe right now.
That? Yeah. And BPT, I will say this, as much as, I've had my outs with MLF and all that stuff, I really like the changes they made as far as 1 period with forward-facing sonar and 2 periods without. I think that's been a lot more fun to watch, and how people are strategic on how they use their sonar. And it's also kind of exposed a little bit on who was super reliant on it, whereas people who weren't reliant on it. I mean, you look at Wheeler, he didn't even turn it on the entire tournament, as far as I know, in the last one, and just absolutely straight up wrecked them. And it was awesome to watch.
Yeah, Jacob Wall, if it wasn't for Jacob Wall having a really good run in the first 2 there, and I'm working on getting him on BTL as well. That dude can talk. We've had him on before but anytime it's like on Jacob Wall, it's like,
oh yeah,
and he like gives up the goods. It was funny. I was talking with Wheeler and I was like, dude, I said, I need to get Jacob Wall back on BTL. You know what? You know, he goes, I don't know. He goes, but that dude talks too much because he gives up too much juice.
oh,
He goes, he needs to just fish for a while. He goes, he's giving up too much of the goods on live, I think, when he goes back and looks at it afterwards. So who knows? But interesting schedule. I think this suits your schedule really well, Andrew. And I know when you were mulling over the decisions and the schedule had come out, you're like, man, what do you think? But, you know, Santee in March, Norman in April, Douglas in May. You follow in Oklahoma in June, St. Lawrence River, July, Logan Martin, September, and then Hartwell.
I won't be in that.
You won't be at the Hartwell Championship
because they do it based off of last year.
Anyway, so those are the stops. I think you've been to all of them, a lot of them during that time of the year, had success on them. And I'm looking at this going, man, there's a lot of these events that I think you will be a top 10 favorite in, even with the NPFL field.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's anytime that you add in spawn lakes, you know, like when fish are going to be spawning, I feel like that's probably at this point one of my top strengths, or flipping at this point. I wouldn't say any like top 10 favorite or anything, but I'm really looking forward to this schedule.
You're going to catch him at Santee.
Yeah,
we learned a lot when we were there for the Open last year.
Yeah, I've learned a lot, and I kind of feel like I know how to adjust on that body of water. But, you know, obviously Douglas, they've announced that Cherokee is a backup lake for that too. In case we're not able to go.
Those Tennessee lakes that rise and drop 30 feet in about an hour and a half.
They had the hurricane come through. It blew a bunch of debris on the banks, and they're trying to clean everything up and do everything they need to do. And as of right now, it's on schedule.
That's where we have like an off limits before, and you went like 5 or 6 days early for that Open, and you were catching like mid-20s bags, and then a cold front hit, right? That was Douglas, right?
Yes.
Like I remember rooming together, you were like, dude, you're like, there's 5 to 7 pounders everywhere and they eat every cast. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I was out in practice just grinding on 13-pound bags. And I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah, it was a really unique tournament. I mean, it kind of knocked everything back. I had an unbelievable practice there. And it just didn't work out. Yeah. And that's how it goes. You know, that's tournament fishing.
You follow Oklahoma, suture strengths.
Yeah, I mean, I've caught them there most every time we go.
St. Lawrence River, suture strengths. Logan Martin in September, suture strengths.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great schedule. I think Norman is probably the one that I would say I have the best shot to do really well in of all of them. I just like Norman. So I think that's going to be a really good tournament. We're hitting it at a perfect time.
Lake Norman's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, and actually the one I'm worried about the most is Santee, just because it is the earliest in March we can be there. And, you know, obviously we're dealing with an absolute ton of cold right now. And how warm will it get before then? Water temp. So you kind of have to calculate everything in. So I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic for that one. The rest of them, I'm very optimistic. So,
chatting with NPFL Pro, TNPFL Pro, Andrew Upshaw.
That's a weird. I love the NPFL. And then
what do you want to be called? An industry insider, a TV show host, a content creator, or a NPFL Pro?
I don't know. I just want to just exist. I don't have to be
called. Dog just
anything.
walk into the living room?
Do what?
Was there a dog that just walked into the living room?
No, it's in its cage.
Oh, okay. I said like 30 minutes, but we haven't even gotten to the TV show. Are you good? Are you good for another segment?
Oh yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. It is BTL on a Wednesday with Andrew Upshaw. Dude, watch this Mexico ad. It's as good as advertised. Have you done El Salto before?
No, you were supposed to have me invite me to go with you, and you didn't. Thanks a lot, Matt.
I'm potentially we'll work on something there. Watch this ad. Like, it's as good as it looks. Like, it was dumb. It's BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this. Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit probassadventures.com or email probassadventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top unarmed, Strike King.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
All right, welcome back. Chatting with Andrew Upshaw. Are there any actual professional fishermen who rely 100% on tournament earnings and straight up sponsors anymore that are doing well, that aren't in bad shape right now? Just straight up, all they do is they fish their tournaments. They get paid by sponsors on incentives on when they catch them and to wrap their boat and to promote their products. Or do most of the top guys going now have multiple streams of revenue and media?
I think, honestly, at this point, it's a combination of everything. I mean, you look at, let's just say from the MLF side of things, you've got Wheeler, Connell. I can't even think of very many names over there. I don't watch much. But I know they have, you know, obviously their YouTube stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do a ton of stuff for sponsor work. They just do a lot of different things. There's a comment from Jason Mitchell. Bohannon does. He might be one of the.
Yeah, but isn't Bohannon all pringled up?
Yeah, he's pringled up, man.
Dude, I had him on. If you go back and watch, I had him on BTO where he talks about how that whole deal went down, what he does, how it works for him. It's a really cool show.
Yeah, no doubt. And that is it's not as much of a common denominator as it used to be, maybe. I would say probably the heyday was probably around the 21, 22 timeframe post-COVID, because everybody's spending an enormous amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And now these contracts are starting to get to dwindle. I know coming in this season, we had the highest views we've ever had on our show on all of our media platforms, and we still got cut back by sponsors. And that's just the reality of the industry right now. It's unbelievable how, truth be told, how bad a shape the industry is in. And it's not necessarily that it's in bad shape. And I actually have a hypothesis as to why I believe that we're at that point. And some people might not like it, but that's just where we're at. Is, you know, when 2020, 2021 hit with COVID years, you know, all these companies had to hire more and more people to try to keep up with demand, sales, and all these things. All right. I mean, they hired a ton of people. I know there's a couple companies that I work for that I used to talk to one marketing director, and by the time we hit last year, I had 4 people I was reporting to and having conversations with. Well, what these companies have done, or at least what I've noticed they have done, instead of laying off or cutting back to pre-COVID numbers as far as marketing people and sales people, they try to keep all these people but cut budgets instead. And so, because when you work with a company, you worked with these marketing directors, you worked with these pro staff managers, all these people, they become your friends. They become like a family, and you want to take care of your family instead of these expensive contracts or anybody that you're paying. And I really do believe that that's what's hurting our industry, maybe more than anything at this point, is we're growing too big as a business, but not, expanding the business the right way. And sales have leveled back out. They're leveled. They've honestly hit back to where they were pre-COVID. COVID just showed us that just how many people would go fishing when they didn't have anything else to do. So
you're at ICAST, you're dealing with sponsors for a national TV show and Let's Fish TV, which we'll talk with. You're fishing at a high level in the tournaments. You're a content creator with videos on social media. Is there a preference that you've seen when you're putting portfolios together, speaking with potential sponsors, that they seem to be more interested in one than the other?
Oh, yeah. So everything I do on Let's Fish TV is built into a very personalized account. So like some sponsors are just super heavy social. They could care less if they get a mention on TV, an ad, anything for that matter. Whereas I've got some that are just strictly, they want commercials, they want the old school stuff, So everything that I build is based off of where I see the company is or where they want to be. It's really, really unique when you start looking at where our industry is going. I know I saw social media influencers took too much away from tournament anglers. I would say that definitely was the case maybe in like 21, 22. We are starting to see a decline as far as where companies are spending their money. Yes, you're going to see more people invest in social influencers right now, but I don't truly believe true social influencers move.
You should be back here in a second.
Somebody building a 30-second TikTok, I think, is going to struggle selling a $25,000, $30,000 motor.
Right.
And that's just where we're at. Not saying I'm going to do it 10 times better or anything, but I know I've sold my fair share of motors and things like that. So, and I'm just using motors as an example. But I definitely think you see a significant difference there.
TV still viable then? That's the biggest thing. I've heard of so many people say, "Oh, no one watches TV anymore." But like, I mean, I've got the episodes of Let's Fish TV pulled up on YouTube right now. I know there's some on-demand stuff. I know that I've been like, it's sitting down at a sports bar and I look up and I'm like, by God, there's Andrew on Let's Fish TV.
Wow. The thing is YouTube is fantastic. I've had a YouTube channel for a while now. I haven't posted near as much as I probably should be.
Yeah, I went back and looked at that. I was like, dude, you went totally dark for like 2 months.
Oh yeah, no, I did. And I spend way, way more time on my TV stuff. Anybody can create a YouTube channel. And when COVID hit, what did everybody do? We actually had our channels built before COVID, which actually worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
But once COVID hit and they started seeing people getting on there and just talking and getting views, well, then everybody started creating YouTube channels. And I mean, like, it exploded the last 2 years. Well, now YouTube is so oversaturated, in my opinion, that there's so few TV people anymore that you can actually make yourself even more viable by having different platforms. I mean, this is something I learned from Scott Martin years ago. There's a reason he still has a TV show. There's a reason that Mark Zona still has a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Dave Mercer. I mean, you look at the list of guys, it's a very short list. It's really not that big. And we've expanded our show this year. Right now, we actually changed it up significantly. I don't even think I've told you this, and I can announce it now. We've actually we've been running 39 episodes every year, new and fresh episodes every year. We've actually cut that back to 26 in 2025. But now how it will work is
we'll start our season in March on FanDuel Sports Southwest and Southeast and run to the end of August. In the middle of August, we'll actually run a completely different set of shows on Sportsman's Channel and World Fishing Network through hunting season. Yeah, I mean, so it's we've expanded significantly going into it. So, and the cool thing is we're also going to be on MOTV through the Outdoor Channel as well. So people can watch there for streaming services and things like that. We've on the back end of things, I have been working tirelessly trying to get us to a point where we've expanded from basically March to December on TV.
So funny thing. So, in the Let's Fish TV, you always have the what's going on around the state, and they throw it to Julie in the studio. So she used to do reports for think Fox Sports Southwest when they covered the Dallas Stars. Maybe they still do. Anyway, when I was at the University of Oklahoma, I played club hockey with a guy named Kelly Forbes, who was from Canada. And once he graduated, he went and played in the so it was a CHL at the time for a little bit, and then got a job as the video guy for the Dallas Stars, where he met Julie, and now they're married with kids. So I played hockey at OU with her husband.
That's crazy.
It's a weird connection.
We've completely revamped the show. So we don't have any more weekend reports.
Okay.
With Julie, we've added in another segment to help teach anglers a little bit more. I'm really excited for y'all to see the show. Jay Hayes over there actually put a comment that I think is pretty relevant. I quit watching TV shows, not paying for our Outdoor Channel or any other thing. Well, that's actually something that we cater to. So I know that there's some people that aren't going to go subscribe, watch, all that kind of stuff. Every one of our shows we air on YouTube the week after it airs on TV. So any show that you watch on TV, you're going to see on a landing spot on our YouTube channel. So you don't have to go watch it on TV if you don't have the opportunity or the time, or maybe you just don't want to subscribe to a channel. So we really try to make it really, really easy for everybody, and that's what makes our show maybe a little bit different than some others.
See, there it is. That's on.
Yeah, that's when
right there.
That's when you got wrecked by Cranford.
You have? No, I didn't get wrecked by Cranford. You have no idea how much stress there was on this show.
That one was I remember you calling, and you were really.
And we didn't even know how stressful it was. We were like, Jared was like, Andrew's really, really wanting to know what you guys have, a lot. And I did not know that show was going to air the next week. You didn't have anything in the can. It was right at the end of the season. You needed one. Austin, I called Austin. You can see, look how the grass is really down, but you can tell it's it had been like that 3 days before. They had sucked the bottom out, massive cold front coming through, blowing 30 degrees, and we needed at least 5 fish to make it happen. And we had 4 fish with a lightning storm coming in. It was a lot of stress.
Well, yeah, and see, but that's what makes our show so much more unique, in my opinion. And obviously, I'm very biased because it's my show. Is we're not pre-shooting shows, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but a lot of these TV shows that you see are shot the full year in advance. I mean, they might shoot them in May of 2024 and they air in June of 2025. We don't do that. We shoot everything within 1 to 2 to 3 weeks of almost every show that airs, especially after the first month of the show. So if you see a show and it's on a body of water, it probably was shot literally 2 weeks before. And so it's very relevant to right then when you watch it. If you're on that body of water, you can actually use it as a way to go figure out how to catch fish. So, I mean, it's really viable for people that want to, learn how to fish that body of water or catch fish or relate it to where they're at and the conditions that they are on too.
Yeah, it is really cool. I'm trying to show this. So watch this. Watch this in the background. So Austin catches this fish right here. And we're like, oh my gosh. Jared's like, do the wrap up, even though it's a small fish. I want you to focus in the background on this buzz bait right there. Did you see that gigantic? It was like an 8-pounder that flushed it, and I totally missed it. And I was such a professional because I didn't say anything about it. Look, he's doing his, here's what we know. Watch right over Austin's shoulder, right?
You should
here.
pause it right there.
But did you see that thing come up and just absolutely truck it? Because I had visions of him like doing a closing, with a 14-incher, and then I'd say, get out of the way, Austin.
I actually remember when you called me about that, you were sick.
Oh, it was like a 7 or 8 pounder. It was absolutely enormous.
So I will say we did pre-shoot one show going into this coming year, and we shot it just a few weeks ago. I shot it on Caney Lake with a really good friend of mine, and we were trapping, and I think we caught like 25 pounds. I mean, we caught a really big bag. I say really big. I mean, a good bag, just trapping, throwing red-eyed shads, and he legitimately lost like a 10 or 11.
Oh my gosh.
Beside the boat, trying to just to lip it. And dude, he had it right by his thumb.
Oh.
And I was so disappointed. I was like, are you serious? And it just happened to be like everything lined up. Usually we don't shoot that far in advance just for the fact that, I want to keep things very symmetrical to the year.
Yeah.
But like we haven't shot any other shows going into the year, if that tells you anything. And we air the first week of March. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at this point. But that was such a huge fish. And to the same, like what you're saying with that big one on that buzzbait. I mean, golly, you want to talk about an awesome way to open the show is with a 10-pounder and not on some stock pond or some crap that you see everywhere else. Like we fish real bodies of water for the most part. I think we fished a few small, like private-ish kind of places, but it's very, very rare on our show.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but we don't do it often. Well, I mean, like it's not like maybe 1 or 2 a year kind of thing out of 39. Like that's very slim.
Yeah. What's Kane playing this year now? I know like I said, you mentioned it at the beginning of the show. We'll close it with it. We'd be fishing, you get off the water, you'd be like, watch this. You'd see him just like blowing by guys that are twice his size on the track field or the 90-yard run in the football.
Yeah, no, he's dude, he's grown up so fast. You always hear people say that, and I know I did, and I was like, whatever. Like, it's crazy how fast they grow up. He played football last year. He's played football every year. So we'll be playing football again next year. I actually was a head coach of 2 different teams, one that wasn't even his team and one that was. We ran 2 different track clubs last year. And now I actually just announced a new track club that I started that I'm running as well as another track club that he's running in.
A glutton for punishment,
dude, but it's so awesome. And not even just for Kane. I love it for all the kids. I have so many kids that become, I feel like my own kids. And I truly, truly hate seeing kids go without what they need to be successful. And, this day and age, the one thing that's not taught to children is discipline and understanding how to do right, be right, treat people right. And that is probably one of the most important aspects that I teach in our programs is how to be a better person. And then beyond that, how to teach them how to be a better athlete. But I think that's lost in translation a lot of times. And so that's why we actually started the track program and, to kind of piggyback off of our football program that we run. And because if I can get those kids 6 months out of the year instead of 4 months out of the year, it's just going to be exponentially better for those kids. And it's just kind of my passion. Honestly, I was offered a head coaching job in football for a high school team this year. Oh yeah, I didn't say nothing to anybody.
Would that be coaching with your dad or a different high school?
No, like actually be the head coach, athletic director for a program.
Would you have to play against your dad then?
No. He doesn't coach anymore. He's retired.
Oh, he doesn't? Oh, okay.
And I was offered a couple other little small
really
jobs.
Head coach Andrew Upshaw, like clipboard throwing,
Oh, yeah.
earpiece in, the whole 9 yards.
It was a really small school, but it was a really awesome opportunity. You know, I really love helping kids. Like my dad was a head football coach for 30 plus years. I think it was
Mhm.
like 34 years. A very, very successful coach. And I learned a ton from him. And, you know, I've always had this big passion of coaching with him. I really hope he decides to go back for one more year, because if he does, I can assure you I will be taking a year off from fishing to go coach with him. And everybody can be mad at me. I don't give a crap. Because you only get that opportunity to spend that
I
time
would
with
have to
your
come watch one
your
of those games if you
Oh, dude,
just stop
I
it. It'd
can't
be
help,
hard to
like,
pick you out on the sidelines, though.
oh,
You'd have to
man,
wear
like,
like
I
a
get
bright
pissed.
yellow shirt or something so people can find you.
Oh, no, everybody can find me when I'm on the sideline, I can assure you that,
What do you wear,
because
a flag that goes up above your head?
oh my
like,
god,
like the
like,
little
people
kids
get
in the corn maze race?
I actually had to, I have to really, like, chill out a little bit, because I
You get
think my
fired
heart
up.
rate stays about 180 the entire game that I coach, so,
You have the
uh
same passion for like coaching as you do when you first got into like the high level tournament fishing?
actually, I feel like I have more passion for coaching than I do
Really?
for any tournament
Is
fishing I've
it
ever
that
had.
same kind of feel though? Like as you prepare for the game, as you get ready during
Yeah.
the week, as you scout and do
Oh,
it
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
game, like
all
it's the
that,
same.
yeah, I think
Because
fishing
I've never
actually made
coached
me a
anything.
yeah, fishing made me a better coach, because I was so meticulous, breaking down bodies of water, Google Earth
Hmm.
imagery, like, doing all my research and everything like that. I think it made me better for coaching for that simple fact. Um, and it just made it way easier. I will address the elephant in the room real quick. I am wearing glasses. This is a new addition. I know you've never even seen me wear glasses,
I
Matt.
just assume. I mean, I've had glasses since I was 12. I
No,
just
this
assumed
has
that.
been a 1 month in kind of situation.
Wait, so you've been your whole life, like the last however many years,
Yeah.
without glasses?
Yeah. Yeah. They found a disease in my eye. Yeah, I haven't said nothing
Like
to nobody.
serious?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Um,
not histoplasmosis, is it?
no, it's retina senesis.
Huh.
It's a hole in your eye.
What?
But yeah, it's crazy. Over the last, like, I guess I noticed it in December. From like the 1st of December to like the mid January, my vision went from like 20/20 in my left eye to like 20/50, like overnight. And so I went to the eye doctor, because like people's faces were blurry. Everything just went like bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in, they tested my eye, and I actually had that hole in my eye, and my vision had gone down significantly in that one eye. I've got to get scans done like the next. I think as soon as I get back from Santee.
Can they fix it?
No, it's
Can they
not
stop it?
curable. No, no.
What, are you just gonna lose that eye?
I mean, the worst case scenario is, your retina detaches from your eye. They have to
Yeah.
have surgery, but you never, like, there's a chance like you go permanently blind in that eye. And there's a
Really?
lot of different things. That's the worst case. The best
Yeah.
case is it
My
doesn't
mom's
develop.
blind in one eye. She got histoplasmosis because she grew up next to a chicken coop and it settled in her eye instead of her lung. So she's been blind in one eye since she was like in her teens.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and I mean that, and I'm speaking truly worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be one of those where it just slows down and nothing happens.
That's
Um,
how do you get it?
I honestly have no idea. I don't know if it's genetic or what, but I know, like, dude, it was the trippiest thing. Like, over that course of about a month and a half, like, I could be standing 10 feet away from somebody and their face was completely blurry, trying to read things like signs. Like, it was crazy. Um, I actually think Doug might be right. I'm that I might have gotten that hole from scoping. Um,
You know what I've noticed over the past specifically 6 months is I'm missing a lot of guides with my lot. Like instead of just going brrr and like you know what I mean?
oh
Like
yeah,
I find myself trying to put the line through the eye of the guide.
you know
I
what
mean,
I've
it's just
learned?
an age thing.
Well, it is to a certain level, I believe. One thing I've learned about doing, uh, putting your line through the guides is I learned this little trick a long time ago. I think it was from Tommy Martin. Is what you do is you pin your fingers together and you run it up the rod, and you put the line between your finger and your thumb, and you can just keep slide, and you'll never miss a guide.
Wait, say that one more time.
All right, you pinch your fingers together, and you put the rod right there on your fingers, and you pinch the line here. And what you can do is you can basically run your finger up the rod. Instead of doing this, you just slide it up, and then slide it up, and then slide it up, and you never miss a guide.
All right.
It's pretty, like, if you try it one time, you're like, oh, instead of doing this every time, like you're threading a needle.
Do you remember that product that came out probably 5-6 years ago now?
Yes, where they did it for you?
Yeah, it did it for you, and it was for like micro guides, and you put it in and you'd go with it was actually pretty cool. I was thinking about that. I was like, huh.
Now you're seeing why they actually made that.
Yeah, and then I'm wondering how it didn't take off.
Because people, I have no idea. Well, we didn't have near as much promotion back then.
No, I mean, that's true. Not near as much social media. The two things when it comes to taking line off and putting line on, that was, and then the other thing that blew my mind when I first saw it is, like, you know, let's say you're fishing with 8 to 10 different rods and reels that you need to strip the line off of and then put new line on. You know, I'd sit there and, you know, pull all the line off. And then I thought it was cool when you had the guys, you had the line where you go and you take it, you know, it'd pull it off. And then Rojas, one time I saw him, he had 10 rods and reels fanned out, and all the tips of the rods were pointed towards the same direction, and he stripped the line off all 10 at once.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's the way to do it.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. My problem is I've tried to do that, and it just, like, my rods will like catch or something, or I'll get a backlash, and it's like, gosh dang it. And I'm like picking each one of them out. So I've gotten to where, like, I'll tighten the cast control down on them and then get a drill with an old spool, and you can actually drill them all off. Like
all at once. Like you put them all on the spool and just go. Brrr.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like automatic. Just boom, just gone.
That's wild.
But,
anything else you want to get in here? If you guys want to follow it, here, there's a bunch of things you guys can do if you want to keep up with this. You can follow Andrew Upshaw on all your social media, Andrew Upshaw Fishing. You can follow Let's Fish TV. You can subscribe to that YouTube channel and watch all the back episodes of Let's Fish TV. You can go watch the Open Pros Pick'em Show, which will be the week before every Elite Series tournament for the remainder of the 2025 season. Proud to have Deep Dive on as the presenting and title sponsor of Open Pros Pick'em.
The only sponsor.
The only sponsor. That's what I say. Like, I think it'll be a win if they don't pull their sponsorship by mid-season.
Hey, they did watch the first one and they did like it.
Okay, good.
So I think we're on good terms so far. Now the problem is I can't keep a muzzle on Ish and Todd, but nor can anyone for that matter.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna kind of roll and do what they do every time.
It is what it is. And then you mentioned this year all sorts of different platforms to watch Let's Fish TV.
Mm-hmm. It'll be World Fishing Network, Sportsman's Channel, FanDuel Florida, FanDuel Southwest, and FanDuel Southeast.
Is that the old Bally's?
Yeah, it's all Bally's.
And then it was Fox Southwest before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now it's FanDuel.
That's cool. Did I miss anything? Anything else?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I've got so many irons in the fire, it's hard to keep up sometimes. So if there's people that, I know there's probably some people frustrated that I haven't posted as many YouTube videos, things like that. I do my best to try to keep up with it at this point. I really probably should hire somebody to do them for me.
Yes, and join the fantasy fishing groups. It's under both for Bass Talk Live. You can sign up. There's already 150 in the Bass Talk Live group, and then you have to click specifically just the fantasy fishing group for the Open Pros Pick'em on Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. See if you can beat myself, Andrew, Todd, and Ish. Todd got quiet after he didn't win this past year. He was a handful for the last couple years.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to have a good season this year.
You think so?
Yeah, he made some good picks the other day. So, and I felt like, especially after reading all the comments, that Rodman was off limits. And you kind of missed that one, by the way.
I did, but I really don't care. Like, I mean, he still has Patrick Walters in that A group, still has all of the tools to succeed.
Yeah, actually, I would really like to go back on mine significantly because I do think they had the most massive cold front ever down there, and it's just
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
yeah, and I really think scopers are going to absolutely dominate, or punchers. I mean, it's going to be one or the other. I just don't see anything else really.
Well, I got scopers and punchers. I got Eber, Loberg, Welcher, Tucker Smith, and Patrick Walters.
Yeah, I don't even remember who I have, but
I'm debating between Patrick and Jordan Lee. I might make that switch.
see, I do like the Jordan Lee pick significantly. See, I've got Drew Cook, which I kind of want to take him off now. I got Hackney, Jason Christie, John Cruz.
Ooh, yeah, you're all in on.
I'm old school, guys. Like, I've got a problem. I might have to
Not
change
old
that
school.
better.
You're the oldest school.
The oldest of the old. No,
And then-
Ish is older than me.
Well, no, that you're picking. All the guys. Ish's team is older than yours.
Oh yeah, Ish's team's always older.
Yeah, and then you look at, the worst thing I think you can do in social media is in fantasy fishing is to go down the social media wormhole where it's the guy holding the 10-pounder and he's like, only bite I've had in 3 days, completely clueless heading into day 1 of the season. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, and then inevitably that guy comes in with 38 pounds and he's like, yeah, I knew I was on, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the worst thing I think you can do is social media. But I mean, like, you look at Jacob Fouts and he's like utterly and completely clueless going into, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, or ran around for 3 days and found absolutely nothing.
I feel like that was me in some of the opens last year.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I can find my butt with both hands at this point.
Yeah.
But no, looking forward to it. I really appreciate you having me on, Matt. I wish you all the best with your Bass Talk Live, and hopefully you don't get hazed so much this season, but I wouldn't bet on that if I was you.
We'll see it. I guess I'll see it at ICAST.
Oh yeah.
No, I'll see it at the Classic.
I'll see the Classic.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
All right. I'll let
You
you
got
go. I
anything else?
appreciate it. No, that's it. Thanks for jumping on, dude.
I'm changing all my picks, by the way. So
We got to do another show, aren't they like back to back?
yeah, we'll have to probably do it on Sunday.
Okay. Here's what you need to do, though. You need to have all of how many points we have, and then put it in the description of the next show. So, like, after one event, here's the standings for Matt, Andrew, Todd, and
You're gonna have to do that for me because I don't do all the stats.
if I find the 4 and do it, will you put it in there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Because I feel like some people are in the group might be hiding behind anonymity because it's hard you can't just go in and find like one pick. If you're mired in like the bottom 38 percentile, it's hard to find you.
No, I get it. No, I'm right there with you. Yeah, just make it and send it to me.
All right. See you, Andrew.
See you, buddy.
All right. Andrew Upshaw will take a break when we come back. We still got quite a few shows for the rest of the week. When we come back, we'll talk about that. It's BTL on a Wednesday. Be back right after this.
This is Gamakatsu's new Nano Alpha line of hooks. If it looks familiar, that's because they are. It's the same shapes and sizes in the round bend and the EWG and in the new Horizon head that you know and love from Gamakatsu, but there are a couple new features with this Nano Alpha, which is this little green label that you see on the packaging. First off, 2 times faster hook penetration. That's because of the Nano Alpha smooth coating on it, and also it is 4 times more corrosion resistant. Check it out, Nano Alpha.
I've been using Sunline Shooter for the majority of my career. Millions of dollars made, lots of bass caught, and the gnarly, gnarly stuff. If you need a abrasion resistant, tough fishing line for the really, really mean stuff, Sunline Shooter is for you.
Beatdown is efficient.
Rock solid. 100% American made.
This thing is super tough. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere.
I've ran the Beatdown double stack from Florida all the way up to New York, and the one thing that I know is when I get to my fishing destination, I never have to worry about issues with my graph mount.
Your options are endless with these mounts, but they're steady, they're solid. These are the most reliable mounts on the market, and you can't go wrong with the Beatdown.
When you're ready to hit the water, Denali Fishing has you covered. regardless of your skill level, from beginner all the way up to tournament pro. Denali has rods, reels, and tungsten to get the job done. Check them out at denalifishing.com.
All right, welcome back to BTL. If you go to bassmaster.com and then click on Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing, you might have to create an account or whatever if you're not signed in. That's the page you come up to. Then you could just click on groups at the top. And you click create or join a group. And then under contests or access, just keep it at all. Contests, both fantasy fishing and Drain the Lake. And then you just type in Bass Talk Live. And Bass Talk Live should pull up. Hold on. Let's pull up Bass Talk Live. There it is, right there. It says coming at you. Click it, join the group, and then under your groups, it'll show you which ones you join. So like I'm in Open Pros Pick'em, which has 37 in it, and that. And then I don't know if Andrew's giving anything away. I think I'm like 2 for 5 on actually sending out prizes, so I'm not going to promise anything this year. But there's a lot of honor and glory and prestige for winning the fantasy fishing. All right, tomorrow, Frank Scalish returns with another deep dive using the new technology to break down and help you catch more fish. And then following that, Lord willing, it's an off day for the MLF Invitationals, the one day with scope, one day without, one day with scope tour. So basically 1 day with, 1 day without, new format. Bobby, the Beast Lane, fresh off a BPT victory, will join us at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. So basically you get back-to-back BTLs on a Thursday. Everybody, if you're kind of in the Midwest or the South here, be safe, stay warm. Thanks to Andrew Upshaw for jumping on BTL. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. See ya.